According to a new poll, voters think Gavin Newsom actually has a better chance at beating Republican candidates than Vice President and fellow Californian Kamala Harris. Larry and Kira back, Gloria, you're back. Great to see you. What do you think of Gavin Newsom's presidential chances at this point?
Well, you know what? Actually, that ad that he bought, I would call it strategic brilliance, because no publicity is bad publicity.
Right.
His intent was really to get them talking about him. This is a fight for the Democratic nomination, and he is certainly in the race and challenging openly Uncle Joe and the VP.
So look, what's brilliant is that the spoof is brilliant. You've got to watch Trey Radel. It's on my Twitter as well, at Steve Hilton X. It was just so funny. It starts with him saying that tyrant Ron DeSantis allowing people to walk around without masks.
What kind of a maniac is he? You can keep your business open, you can keep your kids in school. Come to California. We'll never let you earn a living, and we guarantee your kids will not be in school for most of the year. And cherry on top, that we'll make sure that they graduate 3 years behind.
So Larry,
in their education.
you've seen him up close. He wouldn't debate with you, but
he wouldn't.
No, of course not.
What do you think about all
Well,
this?
that's why I started a political action committee called Elder for America to fight the policies that are making people leave California for the very first time in 170 years. Soft on crime DAs.
Yes.
I want school choice. I get rid of this critical race theory stuff. But this guy has been running for president since the 3rd grade. Of course he wants to be president, but it's not going to happen because you'd have to get rid of Kamala Harris. And the black females are the most loyal part of the Democratic base. They will be furious if it is perceived that she's kicked to the side. Her popularity among blacks is almost 70%. Among black females, it's even higher. So there's no way you can get rid of her unless she says, I'm willing to go, and she ran for president. She's not going to do that. So they're stuck.
But that's right. Look, it's very interesting, isn't it, Corey? Because you've got this weird dynamic where they're obviously they all know Biden's terrible. They want to get rid of him. They know Kamala's terrible for the reasons that but they feel stuck, and yet they're all jockeying and going for it. How does it get unstuck?
Well, that's again to stay tuned. Go ahead, bring out the popcorn. But I do think that the Democratic Party is changing tremendously. Yeah. Look, we've seen the rise for the longest time, especially Latinos. Significant base of the Democratic Party as well has just been ignored. And now in Texas and other parts of the state as well, too, we've begun to see, as the New York Times calls, the far right, the rise of the far right Latinas, which is amazing because all we're talking about is basically give us back the Democratic Party that we once believed we had. So it's a changing base. I really think anything is up for grabs. But the fact that he is running ads right now, it really shows that behind the scenes, there's a whole lot of strings being worked.
And I just want to, emphasize to our audience, Gloria, you led the Democratic group in the state Senate in California. Was it the Senate or the Assembly?
Senate Majority Leader.
Right, Majority Leader. And so you've seen this. It's a bit like that cartoon. Do you remember that Elon Musk tweeted whenever, we probably shouldn't get into talking about Elon Musk. There's a lot going on there that we mustn't get into because it's so distracting. But that was very good, wasn't it? Like, he's basically stayed where he is, and the party's gone off. That's how you feel.
Absolutely. I mean, I was Barack Obama's campaign co-chair on his 2nd term, and today I don't recognize this Democratic Party. And so I am looking forward to an intense fight where there is no royalty, there is no basically, unlike with Hillary, I don't think that it will be said Kamala will be given the reins. It's going to be a bloody battle.
They know how terrible.
Oh my gosh.
But the thing is that's interesting to me is that the Democrats used to say, particularly in the Obama era, very, very complacently, they had this phrase, the coalition of the ascendant, and the demographics were on their side, and the demographic shifts in the country were all going to mean that they're going to sort of be elected forever. It's just not turning out that way.
That never really was a thing. That's never a thing. We go through this every election cycle. It's more pronounced this election cycle because everything sucks. But it's never been any different. Americans, at the end of the day, always have their way, always have their say. Sometimes we get it wrong, we go back and we switch, but there's never, ever been a time. Every election cycle, Democrats win, and then they go, this is it. We're salting the earth behind us. It's never going to be any different. And then that's what happened with Donald Trump, and they got all, freaked out because Donald Trump won when He was always going to win. If you looked at the actual polls, if you looked at what he was doing, it wasn't a surprise that he won. But because they had it in their minds that they had put an end to the Republican resistance forever, and they have that in their minds every election cycle, they're always surprised when Republicans win. But it was always going to be this way. We're always going to have this back and forth.
So, Larry, where do you say? I mean, let's just sort of close this out today. What do you think? I mean, what are you anticipating? What are you working on, and where's this all headed?
Well, I'm writing a book right now about my campaign. I set up the PAC, as I mentioned, and I may do something down the road. I want to point out, though, that glory across state party lines to support my candidacy. And another part of the extremist part of the Democratic Party are all these Asian American parents who want merit-based admissions in schools like Lowell High School that went to a lottery-based, because so many of the students at this most competitive high school in California were Asian American. So you're insulting Asian Americans, you're insulting Hispanics, and even more blacks because of watching how bad the education was with the virtual learning during the pandemic. Now one school choice.
It's exactly one thing after another. People are sick of it. I'm afraid that's it. We're out of time. Can you believe it?
It was great to be back.
It was so fun to see you all.